Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. So, we're going to schedule out a worst case scenario for this Putin invasion thing. It has a lot more to do than just with being bad for crypto. It could be end of days. I mean, there's only a very small chance that this could happen, but then again, I didn't actually think Putin would actually invade Ukraine, and he did. So I wouldn't put it past him to want more than Ukraine. Supposedly, Anonymous hacked some Russian communications, and Putin wants all of Ukraine. Now, his aggression on Ukraine is definitely going to affect other countries around the area that are not part of NATO yet. Poland is a part of NATO. I actually didn't make a mistake on that, but other countries like Sweden, Norway, and especially Moldova are not part of NATO. Now, they've actually declared their neutrality. However, the Nordic countries and the countries in Eastern Europe closer to Ukraine are the ones that are most supportive of Ukraine in this Russian invasion. Germany is a little bit antsy about fully supporting Ukraine and fully cutting off Russia from SWIFT. The other countries, not so much. So, this Russian aggression on Ukraine could actually convince countries like Sweden, Finland, and especially Moldova. Moldova is actually tucked into Ukraine. It's very close to Ukraine to actually apply to join NATO. And I don't know if NATO will let them in. Maybe, maybe not. NATO has always had an open policy of letting countries in. That's why it's expanded so much since 1997, which is not to Russia's liking, obviously. So if these three countries turn friendly towards the West because they're afraid of Russian aggression, apply to join NATO, and or are accepted into NATO, Putin will definitely see that as a threat to Russia's security. And he might eventually decide to invade these countries. Now, if they are NATO members, I mean, I don't think he's going to right out invade Poland because that's insane. But now, if they are NATO members, that would actually result in kind of a war between NATO forces and Russian forces. Now, I don't know if they're going to be let into NATO, but due to this Russian aggression, other countries could actually see it their way and see it they can't defend themselves against Russian aggression. They want to align with us in a mutual defense treaty, so we might just let them in. So if they're let in and Russia invades those countries because they see NATO weapons on their borders, NATO troops will face Russian troops in the field. Now, I actually believe that NATO troops, which are largely made up of US troops and weapons, can actually beat the Russian troops. And if Putin starts losing, that could be the one thing that shakes his power back inside Russia if there's a lot of casualties and if the Russians start losing. If they do start losing, remember, I think the Duma has authorized him to use tactical nukes. And Putin might just be crazy enough, if he fears he's going to lose his power in Russia, to use such tactical nukes. And if you drop a nuke on a NATO army, I do think NATO will respond in kind by dropping a nuke on a Russian army. And that could actually end up in a nuclear exchange, which would be devastating for all of humanity. Now, the other side of this is, China will see that NATO and the US is bogged down in a big European war, and because they're sort of allied with Russia, they might take this time to actually invade Taiwan. And the thing is, Taiwan is more strategically important to the United States than Ukraine is, so if the US sticks up for Taiwan, which is fairly likely, that will draw China into the war. And like Putin, if Xi Jinping starts losing in Taiwan, he might actually just pull the trigger on nuclear weaponry because his power back at home could actually be shaken if he loses a war against Taiwan. And especially that Taiwan has cruise missiles. If Taiwan strikes Beijing and Shanghai and he starts losing the war, people will start murmuring against him, and he might be forced to use nukes to preserve his power. So that we could actually get a nuclear World War III scenario in this particular situation, which would actually result in the end times prophecy. Now, we've been living in the end times since the time of the Gospels, at least according to biblical accounts. So I think 2,000 years is a plenty long time for end times. So this might actually happen. Now, do I think this will happen? No, but like I said, I didn't think Putin would invade Ukraine either. So I don't really know how crazy or mad these guys are. I don't know if the anonymous report is true that they hacked some Russian communications and Putin wants all of Ukraine. And I'm not really sure if Sweden, Finland, and Moldova will actually apply to actually join NATO or be led into NATO. But if these things happen in cascade, we could be seeing World War III and the end of days. So let me know what you think about this. What percentage chance do you give this of happening? I really hope it doesn't happen. I still like to go fishing, and I don't want radioactive nuclear powered fish. So let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys next time.